Just like the flowing river, there's a tradition that continues rolling on. And to many, it's a source of livelihood. In fact, it's inextricably connected to the river itself. For the people of Mao Tai believe that water from the Guizhou River is an indispensable ingredient when it comes to making their world-famous tipple. Mixed with locally sourced glutinous sorghum and processed painstakingly using traditional techniques, Guizhou river water is transformed into the one and only Mao Tai. But it doesn't happen overnight. Making true Mao Tai is an involved process that requires great patience. The steam billowing out of the brewery is in fact sorghum being cooked at high temperatures. This is only the beginning. It will take a whole year in which grain at Guizhou water are fermented 8 times before it can be distilled into fragrant Mao Tai. This land has always been blessed with miraculous changes. In January 1935, the First Front Red Army arrived in Guizhou city. After 3 months of continuous trekking through southern China, they would, at last, have a chance to rest. In this small mansion, the CPC Central Committee held a fateful meeting, establishing Mao Zedong as the leader of the Central Committee and the Red Army. In the days that followed, under Mao Zedong's leadership, the Red Army crossed the Guizhou River 4 times and successfully broke away from the offensives of their enemies. The Guizhou Conference saved the party, the Red Army, and the Chinese Revolution at an extremely critical point in history. The next stage of our journey unites present-day Guizhou with its future. We'll fly to the city to meet a special group of residents, take to the sky to watch a romantic performance presented through cutting-edge technology, go to Gui'an New District to see how people store massive quantities of data, and finally, we'll go beyond Guizhou, beyond planet Earth, beyond even the solar system, to peer into deep space through the Tianyan telescope. Guiyang is a place of contrasts. While the skyscrapers of the new town reach for the skies, bearing the expectations of the people for a brilliant future, the Nanming River flows ever onwards, just as it always has, quietly through the old town. And the Jiaxiu Tower on the river is still doing just what it's been doing for the past 400 years. It's a familiar friend and guardian in the daily lives of the people of Guiyang. People usually think of spinning tops as a children's pastime, but not here in Guiyang. Weighing in at 3 to 5 kilos each, an average child would have great difficulty trying to give these big boys a whirl. It's easy to see just how much effort is needed to keep these tops whirring round. After just a few minutes, the grown-up top spinners are sweating. And this is even though they're taking turns. Of course, it's great fun, and it's also a great workout. There are many ways to sweat off a day's frustrations, but with the heat of the day, it's too much for many. This means that nighttime is the ideal time for letting off steam, and there's another advantage. It's easier to see the lighted up cell phones that set the pace for the dancers. The important thing here is to have fun and to try to keep up with the beat. Dancing freestyle without the need to worry about formalities. It's no wonder these square dances bring so much joy to people. It seems that not all macaques like to live in forests far from people. Take these ones, for example. In the 1950s, several macaque monkeys took up residence in the city's mountain forest park. At the time, nobody took much notice of them. But 60 years on, it's a very different story. It's hard to ignore this lively troop of chattering monkeys that's now 1,000 strong. Today, they're friends of the Guizhou people, sharing the scenery and sunlight with the park goers. New technologies are constantly inspiring many fantastic ideas, but some of them are too powerful and ambitious to stay down here on the ground. They're quite literally taking to the sky. A huge number of LED lights are lifted above the city by drones. From an ape to a human, and then to a robot. Every transformation has been carefully calculated. The bloom of the big data flower and the carp leaping into the Dragon's Gate vividly reflect people's imagination of the future. The changing subtitles and patterns demonstrate the deep affection people have for their city. Today, we live in a world where recorded and stored data is increasingly important. But where is all that data stored? It's time to find out. The Guizhou New District has been specially selected as a location of mass data storage for a number of reasons, not least because it's a safe distance away from the seismic belt. Earthquakes are very unlikely to be a problem here. But apart from stability, temperature is also an important consideration. Storage devices need to remain cool. Even in summer, the average temperature here is less than 23 degrees Celsius. But if the data store does get too hot, water can be used to cool it down. Meanwhile, silos built into hills and mountainsides have the capacity to isolate heat from cellared big data. This is the world-renowned Tianyan, or Eye of the Sky. Right now, it's the time for maintenance. With the help of a helium balloon 7.6 meters in diameter, the technician is trying to stand on the surface of Tianyan. The surface of the telescope is coated with a layer of metal just 1 millimeter thick, so it can't bear too much pressure. The helium balloon successfully reduces the weight of the surfaceman to just 1/6 of his original weight. It makes him feel like he's walking on the moon. Such scrupulousness and attention to detail is essential to ensure that this high-precision instrument stays in good working order. China's Tianyan telescope is the largest single-aperture telescope and most sensitive radio telescope in the world. By capturing invisible radio waves and signals, it's capable of detecting celestial bodies that could never be seen by even the largest conventional optical telescopes. Tianyan is doing nothing less than helping to uncover the mysteries of the universe. Since its completion in 2016, Tianyan, situated in the mountains of Guizhou, has been peering into deep space. It's an amazing thought. A province that attracts visitors from far and wide to witness its beauty is itself gazing out to the edge of the known universe.